Hello, everybody, and welcome to Integrating AI into University Education, Pedagogical Rationale, Examples and Challenges, the second webinar of this year's edition of 9 Months, 9 Universities, the series of online lectures organized within the framework of Working Group 11 of the ARCUS European University Alliance. My name is Barbara Gödecker, and I'm one of the experts on autonomous language learning at the Language Center of the University of Padua. ARCUS is a European alliance that brings together 9 universities who share academic, scientific and cultural objectives, a common vision of the role of higher education and research, and mutual fields of interest. Together, the partner universities are building an innovative and inclusive approach to education, to research and to innovation. Working Group 11 is the plurilingual and intercultural hub of the Alliance and aims to promote plurilingualism and to foster intercultural competences amongst the Alliance's universities. The webinar series, 9 Months, 9 Universities, are intended to generate awareness and appreciation for the topic of multilingualism and interculturalism, and an understanding of the many areas of our lives that are related to and influenced by language. The webinars focus on specific topics related to language and culture and target mainly graduate and postgraduate students as well as early stage researchers and all the staff interested in those topics. Let me now introduce you to Laura Köbis, today's speaker from the University of Leipzig. Laura is a researcher at Leipzig University's Chair of General Education. She's part of the research group Tech for CompKI, Personalized Competence Development and Hybrid IA Mentoring, funded by the German Federal Ministry of Education. Her publications focus on e-learning, artificial intelligence in education, technology ethics, and innovative mentoring at universities. Laura holds bachelor's and master's degrees in German as a foreign language and has teaching experience at 5 universities in Germany, Spain, and Great Britain, as well as at the Goethe Institute. The integration of artificial intelligence into university education is not just a trending topic. It represents a fundamental shift in how we approach teaching and learning in higher education. AI has the potential to transform the professional and academic landscape. As a consequence, universities have the responsibility to prepare students for this AI-driven future, equipping them with the skills and the knowledge to thrive in an increasingly automated world. AI-powered tools such as ChatGPT, DeepL Write, or Duolingo are becoming increasingly more popular among learners. At the same time, concerns and reservations persist among educators. Even though teachers have become more tech-savvy in recent years, also partly due to the pandemic, the rapidly evolving possibilities of generative AI remain largely unexploited in university teaching. Despite the EdTech sector's booming commercial interest in AI research and development, there's a noticeable shortage of academic studies, including empirical effectiveness research, teaching recommendations, and best practices. Today's seminar, Integrating AI into University Education, Pedagogical Rationale, Examples and Challenges, presents key findings from a 6-year multi-university interdisciplinary research project on AI in education and, showcasing helpful openly available AI tools, suggests specific scenarios for learning and teaching, and discusses the pedagogical challenges AI exacerbates. Before I hand over the screen to Laura Köbis, I would just like to remind those of you who are attending the webinar in real time to write their questions in the chat. And at the end of the presentation, we are going to have time for Laura to answer the questions from the audience. Laura, vielen Dank, dass du heute bei uns bist. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise with the ACAS community. And now the screen is yours.
Thank you, Barbara. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the kind introduction and for inviting me to share the findings from our research project. And it was conducted at German universities, and I would like to show you a few of our findings. As Barbara mentioned already, as every university teacher knows, when questions on learning content and learning strategies arise today, the students do not merely consult their books or teachers, they increasingly seek out and try AI tools. And they are generating a strong demand by learners. However, strikingly, it seems that the potential of AI applications seems to be far used less by teachers. Such a lack of interest is not surprising, insofar as pedagogical research and training also lag behind the rapid technological progress. So we need more empirical effectiveness studies and didactic recommendations and best practice examples. In contrast, the commercial research and development interest in application of AI is growing exponentially in the so-called EdTech sector. And as a trained language teacher, I am especially interested in language learning tools. And to begin with, I want to show you a few actual slogans advertising self-study language learning tools. Let us examine their promises. So LangoTalk. Learn languages 6 times faster with AI. Transform your language learning experience through 24/7 immersion with personalized AI chat-based tools. Binge watch your way to fluency. Learn languages with TV shows, movies, and music with dual subtitles and instant translations. Or learning languages has never been this easy with AI. AI-powered language learning tools use voice recognition technology and natural language processing to analyze the learner's speech and provide real-time feedback. What these slogans illustrate is that AI-empowered self-learning services and their investors appear to be highly optimistic about the prospect of a growing market, or at least a growing market share for them. Such corporate optimism raises 2 questions I would like to address today. Firstly, where exactly lie the near-term potentials for AI tools in university education? And secondly, what are the likely challenges posed by these transformations for teachers like ourselves? Let me start with an overview of our most recent studies, developments, and tests, which form the empirical foundation of my talk. I will then present a general classification of AI tools, followed by some examples specifically for university education. And in the 4th part, I will discuss the resulting professional as well as pedagogical challenges, which taken together constitute the reason why I propose AI should not any further be ignored by university teachers. As Barbara mentioned, the name of our research project is Tech for Comp KI. KI stands for Künstliche Intelligenz, Artificial Intelligence in German. And we are an interdisciplinary team of around 40 psychologists, computer scientists, mathematicians, media scientists, educational researchers. And we are also collaborating with the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence. It is called DFKI, and it is one of the world's largest nonprofit research institutes for software technology based on AI. And they also have an educational technology lab. So our broader research question is, can digital tools and AI tools scale one-to-one mentoring at universities? So one scenario that the EdTech sector talks about a lot is the potential of automated personalization, making education more individualized and dealing with heterogeneity. Especially in the teacher training program where I teach, this seems very promising as we have large cohorts of students, yet have very few professors and lecturers. It is therefore difficult to provide individual feedback and support to students without additional staff or technology. So naturally, such research and also our research is driven by the prospects of benefits that AI could ideally bring to education. The most proposed benefits are, as I mentioned, the individual approach, the 24/7 availability and instant feedback that AI tools could provide, the breaking of language barriers, or also the transforming of material to easy language, so breaking some kind of educational barriers. Then there is the whole aspect of gamification in education or in language learning, and the area of analyzing success data of a learner, so-called learning analytics. From the outset of our project, we developed, implemented, and evaluated different novel tools that you can see here on this slide. So we dedicated ourselves to automatic feedback systems, an educational search engine, a matching tool for mentors and mentees, a multiple choice question generator, and importantly, when we started in 2018, one main focus was on the development of chatbots. Although at the time in 2018, very few practitioners cared about chatbots in the education sector. Then with the public launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November 2022, it was to be a game changer in the education sector and certainly for our research. An AI tool that answers exam questions and writes essays, explaining grammar or imitating Goethe's writing style, generates considerable interest. Students and teachers were suddenly faced with an inexhaustible variety of more or less advisable and more or less legitimate usage scenarios. Our project definitely had a head start since we have already examined the use cases for chatbots in education. We have done surveys with students, evaluations as to in which ways they use chatbots, and having already included a homemade chatbot into our own course. But we were also faced with the problem that our chatbot was not as smart as ChatGPT. So now we incorporated the newly available large language models into our chatbot. This is the digital toolbox that we offer our students. It is integrated into the learning management system Moodle. Sorry, everything is in German. But as you can see, on the left side, there is the chatbot. Students can ask the bot organizational questions, for example, when is the exam, and also content-related questions about our course. For example, what criteria do you consider when comparing education systems? This is now possible because we have fine-tuned OpenAI's model with our own course material. So students get specific answers based on our own provided material and information. This works quite well, but we are constantly evaluating the chatbot's answers. And however, each chatbot request costs money. So we have set a maximum budget for students' chat prompts. Moreover, there is the issue that we are a little bit dependent on OpenAI, because unfortunately, at the moment, competing open source language models are not as powerful, but we are looking into them. So students can also submit their essays to the chatbot. There are writing tasks for our course, and they can submit their texts and get instant automatic feedback. A text analysis software checks the essays and compares it to the literature the question is based on. And with the help of the large language models, we can also offer now better feedback. Another feature, as you can see, is the search engine. Students can enter a search term and receive all relevant course materials. One very nice feature is that they are even directed to the correct minute of any lecture recording. So this is, I find, quite helpful. Finally, we are currently developing and testing a multiple choice item generator depicted here. Some of you may have tried to generate reading comprehension questions and quizzes with ChatGPT. This is possible. But our computer scientists developed an interface where we both use OpenAI's language model and our own course content. So moreover, it is even possible to include pedagogical knowledge, such as Bloom's taxonomy for classifying educational learning objectives, to specify levels of complexity and the specificity of the multiple choice items. So these are the advantages of combining OpenAI's or other language models with our own material, our pedagogical knowledge, and our information. After introducing our research to you, let me clarify what I mean when I refer to AI and how it differs from digital tools that have been around in the education sector for a long time. So the OECD's definition of AI on the slide makes it clear that complex algorithms and machine learning are required to program systems that can perform tasks intelligently and continue to improve with the help of training data and usage data. The term artificial intelligence was introduced by John McCarthy and colleagues at a conference at Dartmouth College in 1956, so quite a long time ago. And today there are numerous definitions depending on the range of applications. The term weak or narrow AI is used to describe an AI for very narrowly defined specific tasks. Contrary to what the term suggests, the weakness does not refer to the error rate, but to a narrower range of application. The term strong AI stands for a vision that goes as far as achieving human intelligence. More and more experts and governments are categorizing AI as an existential risk for humanity and are calling for more safety and regulation. I'm sure that you've read something in the newspapers about this. So there are a lot of ethical debates on AI, and they often revolve around so-called human-centered AI, according to which the benefits for humans are placed at the center of further development. And the concept of hybrid intelligence, which emphasizes the combination of human and machine intelligence. In addition, transparency and traceability of the results of AI, so-called explainable AI, are required. The AI and education research area is primarily dedicated to the question of the extent to which AI can have an influence on teaching content on the one hand, and teaching methods on the other hand. Holmes et al. Provide an overview of the history of AI in education and provide a useful glossary of key AI terms. So if you're interested in this, I would recommend you this book, Artificial Intelligence in Education. So-called generative AI uses large language models to generate content such as text, audio, images, programming code, or video. And the models can recognize patterns and make predictions based on a large amount of training data. For example, they calculate the probability of the next matching words for an incomplete text. In order to take a closer look at AI tools for learning, let me address one of a whole range of concerns teachers might have. When I talk to colleagues, I often hear the following statement: I feel overwhelmed by the various AI tools and their rapid evolution. Maybe you would agree with this statement. It's not at all surprising to be confused. There are already so many different tools that they need their own search engine. So I would like to recommend the following website called Future Tools, which is a really helpful search engine for finding AI tools. For example, you can search for a free text-to-speech generator or something else. Returning to the range of concerns, other issues and questions teachers face with AI tools are: do I have to register? Are the tools freely accessible? Or do they cost something? Which company is behind the service? Where is the data stored? How transparent and reliable are the tools? Are they provided in the form of a website, a software, or a mobile app? How reliable the tools are actually will depend on your target language. Text results in English, Chinese, and German are likely more accurate simply because of the body of available training data. And it should be noted that the market-driven nature of these services already leads to marginalization of certain languages and dialects. Although there are also publicly funded developments, as ours, for example, these are often unable to match the quality of tech companies. At least in the medium term, it is to be expected that services will become chargeable or have to be paid for with data. And we already see that some tools that were free before, they now cost money. Despite the variety of tools available, it is very problematic that the leading AI development is concentrated in a small number of companies, primarily in the US. In terms of ethical concerns, there are problems regarding access to education. Learners who are tech-savvy and can afford it get access to more advanced and costly tools. But on the other hand, educators are investigating the potential for generative AI to support also disabled students. When colleagues talk about AI at university, they usually think about ChatGPT, but there are many more AI tools to consider. And in one of my latest papers, cited below on the slide, I present a classification for teachers to get an overview of the various tools already available and to identify different applications for learning. The journal article is published in German with open access, but you can use machine translation to translate it into English. With DeepL, for example, you can now translate whole PDF documents. So I've already mentioned there are text generators, then there are writing and proofreading assistants. There's machine translation, transcription software, so speech to text, then speech synthesis software, text to speech, image and face recognition, image generators, video generators, presentation generators, music generators, chatbots and recommender systems, learning robots, intelligent learning software that combines a lot of the things mentioned before. Then there is augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. There are matching tools, recognition of AI-generated texts, programming software, so where you can generate code, so it's text to code. Then there is learning analytics software for the organization of the learning process, and mainly for institutions. And then there is also research software, which might be interesting for us as researchers. In my paper, I also give a few examples of tools for these categories. So now being aware of the variety of tools is not enough. You have to be able to use them. And admittedly, most AI tools used by learners were not originally developed for educational purposes. This poses challenges for teachers and educational scientists to promote their own and others' AI literacy. The gap in digital literacy and AI literacy between and among teachers and learners is widening. And the development of training in the field of AI, specifically for university teachers, is therefore essential. Ethical and legal challenges, such as data protection, copyright, accessibility, as well as freedom of choice with regard to tools, financial, physical, and technical accessibility, algorithmic bias, educational surveillance, or sustainability play just as much a role as new methodological and didactic challenges. By the way, this picture was created by the image generator Stable Diffusion when I typed in a university teacher who does not feel competent regarding AI tools. So image generators could be used for creating and editing illustrations applicable to learning content, vocabulary, visualizations, mnemonics. And you can use them for a lot of different things for learning and in your teaching. Next, I would like to show you a few examples of AI tools so that we can then discuss the pedagogical challenges. As a first example, I would like to go into a bit more depth about chatbots. Duolingo, Mondly, Quizlet, and major educational publishers are introducing chatbots. Why? Studies show that the use of chatbots can potentially reduce anxiety and shyness in some learners, allow for more contact time and personalized communication in the target language, for example, and encourage patient repetition and provide immediate adaptive feedback. So on the Lango Talk website, for instance, you can practice conversations with various avatars. In the case of Spanish, you can even choose a Mexican chatbot, Jose, whose style of Spanish is distinct from the others. Here in this chat, speaking with Isabel, for example, we can practice going out on a date in Castellano, and the bot starts the conversation, and after your response, you will get instant feedback and corrections from the website without interrupting the flow of conversation. And if you want, you can listen to the pronunciation and you can click on vocabulary you don't understand. Unfortunately, the free version is very limited, but perhaps your students are already using similar tools. And for example, the website Character AI is a free alternative. Free at the moment. More and more students are turning to chatbots for social and emotional support and guidance. You may have heard of the chatbot app Replica, depicted here. Its slogan, a friend, a partner, or a mentor, find the perfect companion in Replica. Sounds impressive, but also a little bit creepy. So we know such use cases maybe from films like Her or I'm Your Man. But I've tested the app and I found it remarkable that the AI writes a diary about our conversations and reflects on our interactions. So it creates a specific neural network based on our chats. So I can make video calls, take selfies with the avatar, share pictures of my surroundings, practice mindfulness, and people can do much more if they have the pro version. And it's getting, more and more popular. Let's turn a little bit to the technology behind these chatbots. With the help of application programming interfaces, so-called APIs, numerous companies have already started integrating AI into their services and products. For example, Quizlet has been collaborating with OpenAI since 2020 and has high hopes for its AI learning coach, QChat. Numerous students already use Quizlet to memorize learning content, and the company has had a huge database of study sets and textbooks for training its algorithms. As you can see on the slide, students can select a topic, for example, French past tenses, and then they select teach me, quiz me, or let me apply my knowledge. And the chatbot then will ask questions. Moving on to tools beyond chatbots, with Quizlet's AI-enhanced magic notes, which can be classified as text generators, it is possible to generate study material like flashcards automatically. So you can upload a PDF document or material, and then you can generate sample essay questions, flashcards, etc. My latest surprise about generative AI was when I discovered Suno. Have you heard of Suno AI? It is often referred to as the ChatGPT for music. After you've registered, it is possible to enter some lyrics. For example, I wanted to create a song about verb conjugation in German, and I used ChatGPT to come up with a catchy chorus about verbs. And then I thought of some example sentences that could be useful for memorizing regular verbs and their conjugation. And I entered my lyrics, and afterwards I chose the musical style I wanted. So I tried bouncy reggae, and upon a click, in a matter of seconds, Suno generates a full song for you in just seconds. And this was really impressive. So please try it out. You can play around with different music styles and lyrics. So I think it could be a really appealing and creative way to create memorable learning songs. And students could work on their own lyrics and songs and share them. Currently, it is possible to create up to 10 songs a day with a free account. Another tool that I personally use a lot and I want to mention today is the website DeepL Write. DeepL claims to be the world's most accurate and nuanced machine translation and is one of the most well-known EdTech companies from Germany. Particularly useful is the feature to select a style to rewrite your text corresponding to your audience. Simple, business, academic, technical, or casual. And it will also correct grammar and punctuation errors. And it is possible to rephrase entire sentences and express nuances. And when I attended this year's ARCUS summer school, on integrating AI into higher education in Padua. It was wonderful to try out different AI tools together and to explore potentials and challenges of the tools. One tool that impressed me a lot was Gamma. In a matter of seconds, you can create presentations that automatically insert AI images and text. And afterwards, you can revise and adapt your presentation. So far, I have provided an overview of the range of AI tools and some research in this area. And for the rest of my presentation, I would like to address some of the resulting pedagogical issues. This illustration by the artist Azier really appealed to me and gets to the heart of my pedagogical concerns. But I would like to explain why I think that we as educators can't ignore AI. I believe that face-to-face learning is superior to digital learning. I prefer supporting human teachers, or I am still on the fence. These statements on the slide are valid concerns and opinions, and it is indeed true that we still have not enough experience with the effectiveness of AI in learning. Still, I argue that as teachers, we cannot afford to ignore AI and need to integrate it into our teaching right now for the following reasons. The first reason revolves around the idea of a learner-centered approach. As a matter of fact, and whether we like it or not, most students are already using AI tools, and a recent survey in Germany, quoted here, found that almost 2/3 use AI-based tools for their studies in higher education. If we as teachers are to follow a learner-centered approach, we need to validate learners' knowledge and experience. This includes frank and open conversation about the tools they use, how they learn with them, and to critically reflect about advantages and disadvantages. Moreover, it is also a fact that some students are more tech-savvy or financially resourceful than others, creating a real risk of technological inequalities in class. Insofar as the use of AI cannot be effectively policed, the only way to address these inequalities is to empower disadvantaged students through training and instruction. And we also need to support students' self-directed learning and need to prevent that students use AI tools as a shortcut, which is bad for their learning. Most of them are no experts in learning, and we need to explain to them why, for example, writing to learn is important and why they should think for themselves first before asking the AI tool. We should also think and talk more about the learning processes and how the use of AI tools might change learning. And the third reason revolves around the motivation and future skills. We should always consider the reasons that motivate students to learn something. Fortunately, learners at university are special because they chose their degree and subject to study and usually have some intrinsic motivation. It does appear much easier to explain to them why they shouldn't let AI generate their homework for them. And because they are adults, it should also be easier for them to understand the risks and to question the promises some of these service providers make. Implemented the right way in class, it can be fun to explore together how we can be creative with AI and why we should be critical of AI generated answers and how we can prepare ourselves for lifelong learning. This is, of course, because we want learners to gain skills applicable inside and outside the classroom. And the automation of processes through the use of AI is leading to constant change and new demands on individuals as well as society at large. Already today, certain competencies are particularly in demand in order to be able to deal with a world shaped by artificial intelligence. These include, for example, the ability to collaborate with AI systems in creative problem solving, or the ability to analyze and interpret large amount of data. Even disregarding the demands of our labor markets and the uncertain future of work, nothing less, I would say, than the survival of our democratic systems will crucially depend on citizens able to understand the uses and misuses of AI. As educators, we cannot afford to let our students sleepwalk into these societal and political risks. So in summary, I would like to say that as educators, our responsibilities include introducing learners to AI and providing them with opportunity to test and critically reflect on it. This is a prerequisite for our society to develop and use AI safely, beneficially, and responsibly. And so, how can this be achieved? I suggest to ask learners which AI tools they know and already use for learning, and to try out familiar as well as novel tools together to evaluate and discuss them critically in class. I would also recommend to agree on a course policy statement on the use of AI. So everyone should be transparent and you should agree on how to label the use of AI. You should also talk about your expectations when the use of AI tools is allowed and when, for pedagogical reasons, learners should think on their own or start on their own. The University of Graz has very thoughtful resources for labeling AI on their website, which is depicted here on the slide as well. So to sum up, AI tools can boost creativity and efficiency and are especially helpful if you already have expertise in a field. But learners will need our guidance, pedagogical knowledge, and support. Thank you very much for your attention. I want to express my gratitude to the organizers of the webinar series who have invited me, and some further reading and references can be found on the next slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Laura. Hi. Hello again. Thank you so much, and thank you for this great talk, which was very, very interesting. I've already seen an upcoming question from the audience. It's from Kirsten, who says, do you think AI tools have a positive impact on language learning and plurilingualism?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for this question. As I'm, especially interested in language learning, as I'm a trained language teacher, I was thinking about the changes or the possible changes of language learning and learning processes. So I think AI tools offer an opportunity to learn through a new combination of skills. So, for example, if learners can see their oral contributions directly written because of the speech to text software and automatic transcription, and they can listen to pronunciation and intonation at any time. So, I think this opens up like new learning opportunities and new possibilities. And also that, for example, AI tools open up new self-directed learning. So if you, for example, have language assistants, you can set them to the target language you would like to practice, and then you can practice everyday dialogues and authentic questions. So this I find is quite interesting new ways for language learning. Yeah.
Yeah, so the gamification aspect of it might
Mhm.
be very, very, for some learners, might be very useful because they feel
Yeah.
challenged by that, or they might be challenged by that. Yeah, definitely. I could relate to many of the teachers' concerns, even though I completely agree with you, but I can understand that for some teachers, also because maybe they still somehow relate online teaching and therefore also online teaching tools or AI tools to a period which was more difficult. Um, uh, but yeah, you were totally right, because I mean, if our students use those systems and have those tools, it's our responsibility to make them use them properly. Yeah. And what were your challenges in the research? Like, what was most difficult for you doing your research in educational technology?
Yeah. So I think there were a few challenges. First of all, is the point of data protection.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be in close contact with the data protection officer of our university. This is very important, but also slows development down, or development processes, are not going that fast. And it's also a problem with AI because AI requires a lot of training data, so and big data. But we also, in the education sector, of course, want to strive for privacy and data economy. And this is difficult to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, also the transparency is another big point. Of course, we want to explain students and teachers how the tools work and how they function, but it's quite complex and it's really difficult to explain. So in the beginning, we had a lot of FAQs and forums, support forums for students and teachers. So was also a big part of our work, I would say, and important challenge. And maybe another one, is the interdisciplinarity of the topic. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really important that you work together with researchers from different areas and that you also have computer scientists who can then program the tools and
Mm-hmm.
explain everything. And this was also in the beginning first difficult to navigate, to find a common language, to
Common
understand
ground,
each
yeah.
other. And it's also difficult for universities to hire computer scientists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds challenging, and even more impressive though that you managed to get all these results and all this data you got. So there's another question from Kerstin,
Mhm.
who is going kind of no. Kerstin asks if or says that it's more an affirmation. It will be
Mhm.
great when ChatGPT voice is available in Europe, and I totally agree with that. But I was also thinking about the tools you have developed as part of your research project. Uh, are those tools accessible to the general public, or where would
Mhm.
you address people
Yeah.
interested?
Yeah, if you are interested in the tools, you can go on our website. It's techforcomp.de. It's also in one of the slides, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can go on the website and then you can find the link to GitLab. It is called
Mm-hmm.
GitLab, so where you can find the open source software and the code. But if
Okay.
you're not a computer scientist, it will be, of course, difficult to employ it into your own course. But then you can write an email to us, and
Okay.
maybe we can collaborate or get in touch, and
Okay.
you could try out some of the tools. Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah. I I'm really impressed. And I definitely will write to you once I've processed everything I heard this morning. And yeah, I thank you so much for this talk. And if there's no other questions from the audience, I guess we can say goodbye.
Mhm. Thank you very much again for inviting me.
Vielen, vielen
And
Dank dir,
yeah,
Laura. Das war super.
danke.